We're live from New Delhi. You're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Lipakshi Khurana, coming up in the next 30 minutes. Trump's Republicans hold a narrow edge in fight for U.S. House majority. Secure at least 212 seats, need 6 more. Amsterdam bans protest after anti-Semitic squads attack Israeli soccer fans. Dutch PM Dick Schoof tells Netanyahu perpetrators will be prosecuted. Meta's Zuckerberg not liable in lawsuits over social media harm to children, U.S. judge rules. Political parties intensify election campaign for assembly polls in Indian states of Maharashtra and Jharkhand. And in the first T20 International, India beats South Africa by 61 runs in Durban, take 1-0 lead in format series. Sanju Samson shines with a ton. Well, on to the top story. U.S. President-elect Donald Trump's Republican Party held on to a narrow edge on Friday as election officials tallied the final votes. This will determine control of the U.S. House of Representatives. Republicans have secured 212 seats till now, 6 short of the majority in the 435-member chamber, with 23 races left to be called. According to projections by Edison Research, Republicans are set to hold a majority of at least 53 seats in the Senate. The Senate upper chamber and the White House have already flipped to Republicans, meaning Donald Trump could have significant power to carry out his political agenda after he is sworn in on 20th Jan 2025. Control of the House gives the party the power to initiate spending legislation and launch impeachment proceedings against the officials. And the United States has charged an Iranian man in connection with an alleged plot ordered by Iran's elite Revolutionary Guard Corps to assassinate President-elect Donald Trump. In a statement, Justice Department said that Farhad Shakeri had informed law enforcement that he was tasked on October 7, 2024 with providing a plan to kill Trump. Shakeri allegedly told law enforcement he had no plans to formulate a plan to kill Trump within the IRGC's timeline. The department described Shakeri, 51, as an IRGC asset residing in Tehran. It said he immigrated to the U.S. as a child and was deported in or about 2008 following a robbery conviction. Shakeri is at large and believed to be in Iran. 2 other individuals charged on Friday, Carlisle Rivera and Jonathan Lodholt, who are American citizens, were arrested in New York and are accused of helping the Iranian government surveil a separate U.S. citizen of Iranian origin. And a federal judge on Friday granted a request by Special Counsel Jack Smith to pause the case against Donald Trump for conspiring to overturn the results of 2020 presidential election. In a filing with District Judge, Smith noted that Trump won the White House race this week and is to be inaugurated as president on January 20, 2025. He asked the judge to vacate the filing deadlines in the case to afford the government time to assess this unprecedented circumstance and determine the appropriate course going forward consistent with Department of Justice policy. Judge granted Smith's request without comment. The Justice Department has a long-standing policy of not prosecuting a sitting president. Smith said he would file a status report with the court by the 2nd of December. And Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky called Donald Trump to congratulate him on his presidential election victory. Tesla's CEO and Trump supporter Elon Musk also took part in the 25-minute phone call between both the leaders. During the call, Trump said that he would support Ukraine and maintain advanced cooperation. Musk also extended his support and said that he would continue supplying Starlink satellites. As per the reports, Musk was physically present with Trump during the call. Musk's presence underlines his close ties to the next U.S. president. Zelensky further thanked Musk for the Starlinks, referring to the satellite internet devices used by Ukrainian troops during the conflict. And Democratic Vice Presidential nominee Timwal said the Democrats must continue to fight while also seeking common ground. He promised to defend Minnesota against anyone trying to bring a hateful agenda to the state after Donald Trump retook the presidency.
I just want to acknowledge the moment. It's hard. It's hard to lose. It's hard to understand while so many of our fellow citizens, people that we have fought so long and hard for, wound up choosing the other path. It's hard to reckon with what that path looks like over the next 4 years. So if you're feeling deflated, discouraged today, I get it. Take some time, take care of yourselves, take care of your loved ones, take care of your community. There's a million ways to make a positive difference, and get back in this fight when you're ready. And know that whenever you're ready to get back in that fight, I'll be standing right here ready to fight the fight with you.
Well, a federal judge has ruled that Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg cannot be personally held liable in 25 lawsuits claiming his company is addicting children to social media. U.S. District Judge Yvonne Gonzalez-Rogers dismissed allegations that Zuckerberg directly pushed to hide the mental health risk of Facebook and Instagram from young users. The plaintiffs argued that Zuckerberg, Meta's leader, ignored repeated internal warnings, placing profits over safety. However, the judge found insufficient evidence of direct wrongdoing by him, stating that corporate control alone doesn't make him liable. This decision doesn't impact claims against Meta itself. These lawsuits are part of a larger wave targeting Meta, Google, TikTok and Snapchat for social media addiction's impact on youth's mental health. And Amsterdam has banned demonstrations for 3 days after Israeli soccer fans were beaten and injured in violent clashes in Amsterdam. Dutch police had launched a major investigation into multiple incidents following the Europa League soccer game Thursday night between Israel's Maccabi Tel Aviv and Dutch side Ajax. Amsterdam has implemented several additional security measures in the wake of the unrest. Dutch Prime Minister Dick Schoof said he was horrified by the anti-Semitic attacks on Israeli citizens. Besides, he has assured Netanyahu that the perpetrators will be identified and prosecuted. An Israeli FM Foreign Minister Gideon arrived at Dutch airport after attacks on fellow citizen soccer fans. Scar met Dutch Justice Minister David Van Wiel and far-right leader Geert Wilders in Amsterdam on Friday. The ministers discussed the assaults on Israeli soccer supporters in the city. And Stephanie Tremblay, associate spokesperson for the United Nations Secretary General, warned against a strong likelihood famine in North Gaza. In a statement, she said that the humanitarian situation in the Gaza Strip was extremely grave and rapidly deteriorating.
There's a strong likelihood that famine is imminent in areas within the northern Gaza Strip. The alert further underscores that the humanitarian situation in the Gaza Strip, as we have just detailed, is extremely grave and rapidly deteriorating. They're calling for immediate action within days, not weeks, and this action is required from all who are directly taking part in the conflict or who have influence on its conduct to avert and to alleviate this catastrophic situation.
While 2 flights carrying 394 deported migrants landed in Guatemala City on Friday, the immigration authorities said that the deporters were primarily detained at the U.S.-Mexico border while attempting to enter the United States. They were processed by the Guatemalan Migration Institute, who also assisted them in returning to their original communities. While awaiting registration, the migrants expressed hope that Donald Trump would provide them with the opportunity to return to the United States on temporary work visas. And after the victory of Donald Trump in U.S. presidential elections, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz said the European Union has the competencies to deal with any possible tariffs that Trump may impose on Friday.
On the issue with the United States, I don't think we should speculate too much on this issue with the US. The EU has the competencies to do what is necessary. but we should all very clearly seek talks. My position on this issue is very, very clear. We do not support protectionism. We believe the world is a better place with more prosperity if there can be fair and free trade.
Besserer Ort ist mit mehr Wohlstand, wenn es fairen, freien Handel gibt.
Meanwhile, Germany's economy minister Robert Habeck of the Greens said that he will lead his party's campaign in snap elections following the collapse of incumbent Olaf Scholz' three-way coalition.
Die Stimmung im Land ist gereizt, bedrückt.
I will not accept that fear and anger consume us. I want to stand up for a society that combines vigor and solidarity, in which people stick together and stand up for each other. That is why I have made my decision. That's why I'm running again. First, I'm asking my party to trust me to lead it into the next federal election, and then I ask the people.
Armeen und von Bots und von den Populisten hier im eigenen Land.
Well, Irish Prime Minister Simon Harris announced the formal start of the country's general election campaign on Friday, hoping to retain his coalition's lead in the polls.
I will now travel to Áras an Uachtaráin to advise President Higgins, pursuant to Section 2 of Article 13 of our Constitution, to dissolve Dáil Éireann to allow a general election to be held on Friday, the 29th of November. I want to start by saying to the people of this great country, this great democracy, you alone are sovereign. You go out and you cast your vote, and in return, you're entitled to good government and hard work.
Well, Bolivian Vice President David Choca was met with a chaotic scene in Congress on Friday as lawmakers threw him objects including flowers ahead of President Luis Arce's administration report. A group of deputies from the Movement for Socialism Party and supporters of ex-President Evo Morales disrupted the session, aiming tomatoes, flowers and water at Choca, which led to the suspension of Arce's scheduled presentation to the Congress. Following the incident, Choca issued an apology for the embarrassing behavior. President Arce later addressed the public during a ceremony to thank Pachamama. He expressed regret over the congressional fracas, indicating the embarrassment by the conduct of the deputies. And now let's take a look at other stories making news around the world. Bolivians celebrate Natividad's festival with fascinating blends, creating a lively and deeply spiritual event that honors the dead and celebrates the connection between the living and the departed, creating an atmosphere of spiritual reflection, gratitude and communal celebration. A man was shot and killed at Sao Paulo's International Airport. Sao Paulo State Security Secretary said in a statement the murder and its cause was still under investigation. 3 other people, a woman and 2 men, were wounded in the shooting, and the 2 men were taken to a nearby hospital, police said, without giving any further details. And still to come in this edition of DT India Live. India's Chemicals and Fertilizer Minister JP Nadda launched a new scheme for strengthening of medical devices industry. 10th Dubai Design Week 2024 is underway, showcasing over 500 emerging designers and brands from more than 40 countries. And in sports, India's Kiran George to take on Thailand's K. Vitidisan in the semi-finals of Korea Masters.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked, we just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DTNT Live. I'm Lipakshi Khurana, and moving on. Protests in Bangladesh are not going to rest. In a fresh series of demands, Bangladesh Nationalist Party is asking for fresh elections from interim government chief Muhammad Yunus. On Friday in Dhaka, hundreds of thousands of people were on roads participating in a demonstration by the opposition Bangladesh Nationalist Party. A long-time opponent of the ousted ex-premier Sheikh Hasina, they were demanding an immediate elections for parliament from the interim government of Nobel laureate Muhammad Yunus. In Bangladesh, after Sheikh Hasina's ouster from the prime ministerial position, there is not any elected government. Parliament has also been dissolved, and the interim government is only responsible to the president, whom students activists have been demanding to resign. BNP is the main party in political activities in Bangladesh at the moment, as many curbs have been posed on Sheikh Hasina's Awami League. And political parties intensify election campaign for assembly polls in Indian states of Maharashtra and Jharkhand. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi to address huge public meetings in Maharashtra's Akola and Nanded on November 9 to highlight the government's policies aimed at boosting Indian economy. Maharashtra will go for assembly polls on November 20th, and votes will be counted on the 23rd of November. Meanwhile, India's Union Minister Amit Shah will hold public meeting in Jharkhand's Chhatarpur, Hazaribagh, Potka and Jamshedpur on November 9th. Polls for Jharkhand Assembly will be held in two phases on the 13th and 20th of November. And India's Chemical and Fertilizer Minister J.P. Nadda launched a new scheme for strengthening a medical devices industry on Friday. Minister J.P. Nadda said that Indian government is committed to strengthening the medical devices industry through focused interventions that yield substantial and transformational outcomes. The scheme is a comprehensive scheme which targets critical areas of the medical device industry, covering manufacture of key components and accessories, skill development, support for clinical studies, development of common infrastructure, and industry promotion. Well, the 10th edition of Dubai Design Week is currently underway at Dubai Design District and showcased over 500 acclaimed and emerging designers, brands from more than 40 countries. The event reaffirmed its position as the most important platform for sustainable design, global collaboration, and creative expression in the region. Downtown Design, the leading trade fair for contemporary design, held at the waterfront terrace as part of Dubai Design Week. It features largest roster yet of top international designers, brands and speakers, making it most expansive edition ever. With the participation of 25 Indian architectural firms, Downtown Design showcased the latest collections, innovative products and design solutions. The Dubai Design Week will conclude on 10th of November.
We are here at Downtown Design. From 6th to 9th November, it's a curation of global brands from across the world. And I'm particularly going to talk about the really amazing Indian brands that are here. Orvi surfaces from Jaipur, there's Jaipur rugs, they have great rug collection. And we are at Pinboard Media. There are 2 or 3 independent designers also here from India called Jade Lighting and Nimrat Kaur, who's an artist. The whole essence of how India is being on a global map can be seen here and felt here through designers being here.
We're really happy to be here because we can see how Dubai Design Week has brought in the combination and mixture of East and West. We see beautiful traditional designs in combination with modern designs, which are also very sustainable for environment, and we're really excited to see how the Design Week has bridged our clients as well as our designs. So we're looking forward to it.
Well, the COP29 UN climate talks could finally seal a deal on new rules which would allow the launch of a central system for countries to begin offsetting their carbon emissions and trading those offsets. This means, for example, a rainforest country could sell or trade credits to generate funding for forest protection, and the country purchasing the credits could count it towards reaching their own national climate targets. This concept was articulated almost 10 years ago in a Paris Agreement under Article 6, as the rules have not been set that trading is yet to begin. Negotiations are following two parallel tracks, one to establish rules for a centralized system overseen by the United Nations and one for bilateral trading between countries. The UN-led market for carbon offsets would also be separate and run alongside voluntary carbon markets where companies can trade offsets to meet climate targets but are not legally required to do so. Remaining sticking points that will be negotiated in Baku from November 11 to 22nd include whether a country can revoke authorization of carbon credits once generated and what sort of review process for generating credits must be used to reduce its likelihood of greenwashing or low standards that don't benefit the climate. The European Union has been pushing for rules that would hold parties to stringent standards and give the centralized oversight body less discretion in decision making. It also wanted additional oversight on the bilateral trading. While the EU system does not use offsets, it effectively sets carbon prices by granting companies permission to emit. If the UN-run system were to launch with looser standards, the carbon prices set through that market would likely to lower than those in the EU, antagonizing European businesses that would be held to higher standards, experts said. And time now for some sports news. Sanjay Samson scored a sensational century as India eased past South Africa by 61 runs in the first T20 International in Durban. Samson played a belligerent knock as India posted a big total of 202 for 8 after getting an invitation to bat first. The wicketkeeper batter smashed 107 off 50 balls with the help of 7 fours and 10 sixes. Samson became the first ever Indian batter to smash 2 consecutive tons in T20 international cricket and 4th overall. Meanwhile, Gerald Coetzee was the best bowler for the host with figures of 3 for 37 in 4 overs. For India, Varun Chakravarti's 3 for 25 and Ravi Bishnoi's 3 for 28 broke the back of South Africa as the host got bundled out for 141. And India's Kiran George will take on Thailand's #1 seed Kunlavat Vintithstan in the semi-finals of Korea Masters Badminton Tournament this morning. Earlier, the Indian shuttler defeated Japan's Takuma Obayashi to enter the men's singles semi-finals. The 24-year-old Indian beat his Japanese opponent 21-14, 21-16 in the quarter-finals in a match that lasted 30 minutes. Kiran George is the only Indian shuttler competing in the tournament. And renowned Indian musician and 3-time Grammy Award winner Ricky Cage gets his 4th Grammy nomination for his latest music award, music album Break of Dawn. The latest nomination is the first ever solo artist Grammy nomination for an Indian since the legendary Pandit Ravi Shankar, and the only one this year. The latest Grammy nomination is a testament to his continued influence and innovation in the Indian music industry as he seeks to inspire both listeners and the medical community to explore music's healing power. With this Grammy negotiation, Ricky Cage once again sets a powerful example of how music can inspire positive changes across the globe. All right, that's all for this edition of DD India Live. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Nipakshi Kurana from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.